Hiya, this is Dave. I just thought I'd do something a little different today. I just recently posted that I made some vegan fish, and a lot of people have asked me how I made it and what it is. So I also found out that a lot of people don't know what a soursop is, and so this is the basis of the vegan fish. It's a soursop. It's usually found in tropical countries. Apparently, unfortunately, it doesn't travel very well because you don't tend to see it in countries like England because, as I said, it doesn't travel very well. It goes off very quickly. Now, when they're ripe, it's very soft inside. It's like the consistency of cotton wool in there. It's like juice soaked cotton wool, and it kind of tastes like a cross between a pear, a pineapple, and a strawberry. So it's actually really delicious. But to make this vegan fish, you use a soursop that isn't quite ripe yet. Yeah, so it's still kind of very firm. I'm not going to be using this one. I'm only going to be making a little bit of fish. So I've got this this tiny one. So I'm going to be cutting this one up. So it turns out this small one is actually starting to ripen, so it's gone kind of soft. So I'm not going to use this one. I'm actually going to cut this big one up. So essentially, I'm just going to peel it. It's very tough at this point, and you can see it's got this really hard, kind of almost pithy texture inside, and it's very hard to actually peel. But all I'm going to do is literally peel all of this green skin off of the soursop, yeah, as I said, it's really hard, really tough to do. And once I've done that, I'll start removing the seeds. So there you have it. It's now peeled. So what we're going to do now is we're going to slice it up. Now, there are some seeds in this. They're sort of very hard seeds, so what we're going to do is we're going to try and remove as many seeds as we can at this stage. But later on, when the flesh kind of gets kind of floppy, then it'll be easier to get some of the seeds out. So don't worry too much about getting the seeds out. So we're going to slice this. Just figure out the best way to slice it here. So we're going to slice it into sort of slices of about half a centimetre. And again, it's quite hard. You can see where the seeds go, and sometimes it's very hard to poke them out. But so sort of like half a centimetre slices. And there we go, I've hit a seed there, so I'm going to kind of cut around it. Oh, that's a bit thick there. Yeah, so you don't want it too thick because, again, when you basically, there we go, some seeds come out there, look. But yeah, so you don't want it too thick because when it starts to ferment, it's going to it's going to turn kind of floppy, but if you don't leave it to ferment long enough, the centre of it's going to stay hard and you'll kind of spoil the effect. So I'm going to cut this one down a bit, just a bit, to make it so that we've got nice thin slices. So yeah, just going to carry on cutting this down. And I'll be back when I've finished slicing it. So here it is, all sliced and ready. As I said, the slices are quite thin, and if they turn out to be a bit too thick, then you can actually cut them down a little bit. Slice them down centre. But that's it. It's quite a big haul. So the one that got away, it didn't get away. It was that big. So now the next step is to ferment it. So what you basically do is that you take a piece, put it in a sieve over a bowl, and sprinkle salt over it, and sort of sprinkle salt on both sides, and do that until all of it is covered with a little sprinkling of salt. What that's going to do is it's going to draw the moisture out of it, and it's going to start taking on that kind of more of a floppy, you know, because at the moment it's kind of hard, but once all the moisture is taken out of it, it will actually become nice and flexible and more fish-like. So now it's all sorted, it's all ready. So I'm going to leave this now for about an hour. Actually, last time I left it for an hour and it wasn't quite, you know, there wasn't an awful lot of liquid that came out of it. So I actually left it for another hour. So I'm going to play it by ear, but usually it calls for leaving it out for an hour and letting it kind of ferment. So yeah, I'll see after an hour. I might give it another hour after that. So I'll be back with you after that. So now we come to the, well, I guess it's called the marinade part. So all I've got is 4 tablespoonfuls of flour in here. It was actually 2, but we've got you know, we had a very large soursop, so I've kind of doubled it. So this is like 4 tablespoonfuls of flour. I've also got a kind of veggie fish stock cube in here. So I'm also going to put some black pepper in here. It's going to be a bit peppery, a bit spicy, this one, because also I'm going to put some cayenne paprika, which is this one, in there. So yeah, it's going to be spicy because I've got chilies going in there as well. So and I've got some all-purpose seasoning. I don't want to put too much in there. Let's get some. Okay, that's enough there. Right, so that's the basis of it. Now I'm going to just actually mince up some garlic and chilies. So I'll get back to you once I've chopped them up. Some of you probably noticed I've actually had a bit of a casualty with my finger there, but shows you how much of a chef I am. But yeah, I'll be back to you once I've chopped these up. I'm very slow at this, but what do you want? I talk for a living. So this is kind of pretty much minced up, so kind of chopped up into tiny bits. So now I'm going to mix this in with my, I still call it a marinade, even though it's not wet. And there we go. So I'm still waiting for the actual fish to dry, or to ferment. So it's going to take me a little while. So the next step will be to cover each one of the fish in our little marinade here. So that will be the next step. So it's been just over an hour now, and you can see all the juice in the bottom there. It's all come off this fermentation part. So I'll throw that away. Okay, so now the next step is to actually wash our fish. So I've got to wash it quite thoroughly because it's very salty at the moment, and we want to minimise the amount of salt because we're going to be seasoning it anyway. So got to kind of wash this nice and thoroughly. You see, it's now taken on more of a texture of the fish. Yeah, it's now floppy, and you can start to see the texture coming here. But once it's cooked, you'll see it's actually have more of a fishy texture. So there you go. Be back when I've finished. So now we've got the fish all nice and washed. Next thing we have to do is leave it to dry. So I'm just going to put it out on tissue and let it dry out. Usually takes well, sometimes it takes a little while. You might have to allocate another hour for it, but as I said, it's going to be well worth it. So now we coat our fish in our seasoning, and even after we've dried the steaks, they're still a little damp, so it will stick nicely. So let's get nicely coated. So now we take the newly marinated fish, dip it in our batter. Now, I'm not going to give you a recipe for the batter, just use whatever batter recipe you've got. This one is my mum's, so I don't know what's in it, so hoping it's totally vegan. And that's all covered. Pop it in the oil and fry up. Very successful. There we go, just cook it till it's nice golden brown colour, not just slightly more than golden brown, and give it another few seconds and that should be done. Put a little tissue on there. And that should be it. So there you have it, some absolutely delicious vegan fish. So I'm just going to have a little slice of it. Oh, before that, I shall get some of this. So I'm going to have a little slice of it and serve it with this absolutely delicious, now if you can get that, absolutely delicious St. Lucian banana ketchup. Really delicious stuff. So let me just grab a piece here. And you can see, look at that, it's a really nice looking fish. So let's take a bit of banana ketchup on it, lovely. So, here goes. Absolutely delicious. You're going to have some more.